Okay, this controller just got awesomer. I really should have explored these things more thoroughly in the past. But, so someone asked, how do I program the programmable curve? So first you got to make sure you're on the programmable curve, which is basically all the way counterclockwise. It'll show a P in the screen. Let me try to zoom in on this a little bit better. Okay. So once you're all the way counterclockwise, you'll see the P. When you're in that mode, pressing the brake will bring up the editing screen. So just hold the brake button, and now you're in the editor. Okay? That number below is telling you what percent of 100 that step is. And turn the first knob to change which step you're editing, right? So all the way over here is step 1, and it's always going to be 0, because this is then changed in your regular throttle setup screen by changing the min speed, right? So this is always 0. So just remember that the whole thing is going to be kind of pushed up when you turn up the min speed, okay? So you want to do a curve that you think you like the shape of, not necessarily the exact numbers for every single step. So to change the number, move to one that can be changed. So step 2 currently is at 15, it looks like. Just turn the middle knob to change that up one digit at a time. And you'll even see the graph is bumping up where that step is. So then move over again, set up the other one. And you can focus on the graph or the numbers or both or whatever. This obviously would be a terrible throttle curve, because seriously, why? But I'm just showing it as an example. Okay? Now, I'm still holding the brake button, which can get kind of annoying, especially if you're taking a long time to do it. This over here, kind of hard to read, says PBS. I thought it meant one thing, and then I tested it and confirmed, yes, in fact, PBS stands for pre-braking system, which, as you may already be aware, is brakes are activated as you reduce your throttle position, not only when you go all the way to 0. So I'll show that off in just a minute. The other thing to know is that every memory bank, every memory profile bank has its own programmable curve and its own PBS setting, along with all the other stuff that goes with every profile. So I'm probably not going to actually do a lot of testing with this particular throttle curve, but let's just see what happens. So as soon as I release the brake button, it's going to back it up and store that information, and then any other changes I make will also be stored a few seconds later. So like I said, the min speed is still your normal min speed, so the curve you made is going to be bumped up basically by that amount, or interpolated in some fashion, right? So you can set this to 0 and have it be exactly the curve you created, or set it to 1, I guess. But let's show off the pre-braking system. So I have my brakes at 100%, so it's going to be braking really hard. And I left the pre-braking system set to 5, which is the maximum. It's either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So 5 different levels of pre-braking. So this will be the maximum effect that you can get from the pre-braking system. So I'll try to kind of show that just by holding this car up. So it activates when it detects a sudden drop in trigger in throttle position. So you can hear the brakes being activated just by reducing the amount of throttle. If I turn my brakes down, then of course that effect is softened. but it's still there. So my brakes are off, so it's basically just coasting through those steps. But obviously you probably wouldn't race like that. So we'll turn my brakes up to, let's say I like this car at 75%. There's 75% brakes. But that's what I want at the end of the main straight, not during pre-braking, right? So I'll hit my brake button, turn my pre-braking down a little bit. Let's try 3. So it is making a quicker transition from the previous throttle level to the next throttle level by having that pre-braking system up. It's just not as sudden and harsh as maximum pre-braking. The other thing that I discovered was that the ghost feature does in fact work for analog. So I'll take this car off just to make sure, because I don't remember if I turned it on or not. But if you press any of these buttons and the brakes, you'll go into ghost mode. And then changing that number is how much power goes to the track. So I'm pretty sure I have this set at, well, it looks like 30 something. This is what I had it on earlier. You can just use this knob to turn it down. I'll set it on 30. And then the car goes at that speed. Or that percentage of throttle. Meow. And I think you deactivate by hitting the brake button again. Yeah, takes a second. And just for the heck of it, let's find out if there's different ghost mode settings. So we're going to change the profile that I'm using by pressing and holding the button and the brakes and then moving the trigger. So bank 2. Says 30 for ghost. Let's try bank 3. Says 30 for ghost. So let's try changing this one. We'll change this one. Gotta change it while it's going. Change it down to 20. Okay, and then we'll go to bank 1. And it's moved to 20. Okay, so that confirms that there's only one ghost mode number, but there are different programmable throttle curves for every single memory bank, different pre-braking system numbers for every different memory bank, just like every other one of these settings is stored for up to 8 different memory banks if you have that version. So hope that helps. Comment, whatever, ask questions if you need to, and I'll help as much as I can.